We've had the first of several votes this evening inside the House of Parliament, and 312 MPs against 308 have pushed forward an amendment that essentially rules out no deal forever. This is a non-binding vote, worth noting, but this is very, very significant because this has the potential to entirely derail Theresa May's plans for Brexit. She has said she will honour the result of this vote, and this will very likely mean that she will now have to request an extension to the Article 50 negotiating period with the European Union, something that could be agreed upon next week in Brussels. So a very, very tight vote. There's the potential that some ministers inside the government voted alongside that majority. That would in theory mean they could be liable to losing their jobs, but another defeat for Theresa May, not nearly as resounding as the one that defeated her deal last night, but this certainly boxes her into an ever tighter corner as she approaches the negotiations with Brussels next week.
And Willem, the pound is up a little bit further off the back of this news, unsurprisingly. 1.24% higher on the day. It was about 1% higher before the vote. Talk to me about exactly what this means in terms of politically binding, legally binding, and the differences there on what this amendment, exactly how it was worded.
So what the government had tried to do in its open motion today essentially was to rule out no deal on March 29th, which was the initial deadline. That was going back a month or so to some promises made by Theresa May, but they tried to still keep the pressure on lawmakers here in the UK by saying that March 29th would be ruled out, but the idea that there would be no deal was still on the table. That was designed to try and get some MPs to vote in favour of Theresa May's deal. That seems now not to be a possibility because this amendment, which was put forward by a number of MPs, some of whom decided not to push it because they were happy with government promises made this evening. One individual, Yvette Cooper, who's been a thorn in Theresa May's side for the last few months over parliamentary procedure and Brexit, she pushed this amendment forward. It's been voted on, and we've now seen this narrowing of options for Theresa May. We've got another amendment being voted on. We'll get a result from that in a few moments' time. That's about trying to manage a transition out of Europe, a so-called managed no deal. But given that no deal has now been in a non-binding manner put off the table, it does seem like this second amendment currently being voted on will be a bit of a moot point.
I feel like we need to unpack this a little bit. So the pound is rallying because the worst market case scenario would be a crash with no deal out of the euro, which is what would happen by default on March 29th. Question, with this vote, can that still happen?
It can, but as Willem correctly says, the chances of it have fallen dramatically because a clean bill, a clean amendment, albeit non-binding, has said we rule out no deal forever. There is a majority of MPs, 312 to 308.
But here's the problem, they can't vote on an actual deal.
But exactly, it's not binding, and what it has done is a resoundingly loud political set of rope around the Prime Minister to say that she can't really take the country.
You are not the one to negotiate this deal because your votes keep failing.
You can't take the country to no deal.
Right.
Because there's a majority in Parliament, albeit in a non-binding way, that says we rule out no deal. Legally, it is true to say also that the default, if they don't find something else, is still a no-deal Brexit. But tomorrow, they will vote on whether they want to extend Article 50 and seek a different alternative. And given the results today, it's overwhelmingly likely they'll do that.